Hi, I'm Amanda and welcome to All Access Eats. Some of you may already know me as an actress, a filmmaker, and the daughter of Meatloaf. But what you might not know about me is that I have a passion for cooking. And I especially love cooking for my friends and family. See, I grew up traveling the world on tour with my dad. And some of my earliest family meal memories come from those that we had backstage with Dad's band and crew. And some of my earliest culinary experiences come from learning to cook those comfort dishes from chefs all around the world for our big tour family. So I'm here to share some of those recipes and those stories with all of you. So when I was about 11 years old, Dad went on tour in Australia and New Zealand, and I of course went along with. And while we were on this tour, I got to have some of the most amazing adventures and experiences. I swam with wild dolphins, I held koalas, I fed kangaroos. It was crazy. All the things that I never would have imagined doing, I was doing. So one night off in Auckland, New Zealand, Dad decides that he wants to treat the whole band and crew to a really nice dinner. So we make reservations at this amazing seafood restaurant. At a huge table next to this all glass wall that just looked out over the whole ocean. For miles, that's all we could see. So it was an amazing setting, another part of this excellent adventure that I was on. And I decided right then and there that I was going to continue my adventures. You see, up until this point, despite the fact that we lived on the East Coast, right there with the Atlantic Ocean at our doorstep, my mom, for the life of her, could not get me to eat seafood, ever, except for frozen fish sticks. But I decided that night that I was going to be adventurous and brave and daring, and I was going to order seafood that I had never had before. So I ordered the scallops. I had no idea what I was in for, but it turned out I loved them. And scallops to this day remain my favorite seafood. So that's what I'm going to show you tonight, is how to make my scallops. And of course, as always, I'm going to put my own twist on it. So most people, when they think of scallops, don't think about what I'm going to show you. But my favorite accompaniment to scallops is cheesy grits. And not just any cheesy grits, my grandpa's cheesy grits. See, people always ask me, they hear I've traveled the world, but they always ask me, where are you from? And that is a super complicated answer. See, I was born in New York City, but I was raised up and down the East Coast. I lived in LA for 20 years, and now I call Kentucky home. Meanwhile, Dad's from Dallas, Texas. My mom's from Philadelphia. My mom's mom was from Queens, New York, and my mom's dad is from the Appalachian Hills of Virginia. So I'm not really from anywhere, especially not when it comes to food. So this is one of my grandpa's oldest recipes. It's one of my favorites, so simple. And, you know, when you think about grits, a lot of people think about shrimp and grits. Scallops and grits, same kind of vibe. It's delicious. So we're going to start the grits. Here's my trick. Most people are going to start their grits with water, salted water, which is all well and good, especially if you're making breakfast grits and you want to add some brown sugar to them. When I'm making cheese grits, I use chicken broth. So I'm going to whisk in 1 cup of dried grits into 4 cups of boiling chicken broth. We just want to give them a good stir as we're putting them in so they're nice and loose going into the liquid. So we're forgoing any salt, but I am going to put a good tablespoon of butter right in there. All right. I'll make sure that kind of gets moved around, melts a little bit.
Everybody loves butter.
Everybody loves butter. In one of these episodes, we're going to talk about butter and why it is so important when cooking to use unsalted European butter. And I've turned it down to the lowest heat. There we go. And they're just going to sit in that pot by themselves with the lid on for a few minutes. And we're going to move on to the next step of our dish, which is bacon. So to top my scallop and grits later on, we're going to crisp up some bacon. So this bacon is just going to go ahead and go in my oven at 375 for about 20 minutes. So now that the grits are super quick too. I use quick grits. I do. Grandpa always did Quaker quick grits. So I go by what he does as far as that is concerned. So they take about 5 to 7 minutes. Look at that. Beautiful. Very happy with that. All of that chicken broth is nicely absorbed. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is add about 1/2 to 1 cup of heavy cream. Sort of just eyeball it. Now I'm going to take 4 cloves of chopped garlic and toss them in there. Grandpa was actually the person who got me pretty hooked on garlic. Everything he made always had tons of garlic and onions. And a little bit of pepper. Grandpa also put Tabasco sauce in just about everything. I'm not as big of a fan. Next up is going to be this. And this was also something that Grandpa definitely used. Pickled jalapenos. Now you can certainly use fresh jalapenos, and I have in the past, but I really like the acidity and the flavor of the pickled jalapenos. That just adds something extra. So I'm going to put, and these ones are mild. So these are tamed diced jalapenos. They've been de-seeded. And they're very mild as far as heat goes. I'm also going to add about 1/2 tablespoon of just that vinegar juice on its own, because that is going to put some really awesome flavor into my grits. That was the other thing. Grandpa, when he cooked, he didn't really like measure. I don't remember him measuring anything ever. And he was definitely the cook in Grandma and Grandpa's house. Grandpa was always cooking something every time we went. Breakfast was scrapple. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like a homemade sort of Appalachian version of Spam. So anyway, but yeah, Grandpa was always cooking something. And it was pretty awesome to go to know that Grandpa was fixing breakfast was his big thing. Hence the grits, scrapple for breakfast, Taylor pork rolls, you name it. He was also a big hunter. I digress. So the next thing that was always super important to Grandpa, and that I do stick by, I have tried to make it without it, and it's just never the same. So here we go. The big secret. Kraft American Deli Deluxe cheese. And the reason why, so obviously it adds a lot of salt to the dish, but the way that American cheese melts, you know that it just melts in a creamier, more homogeneous way than any other cheese. That's why we love it on our grilled cheese sandwiches. It's why it's the best on burgers. So it really is the best for grits. Now I'm going to add about 8 slices. So this is the one place where I diverge a little bit from Grandpa. Because he would just add all that American cheese and be done with it. Not me. Can't have enough cheese. So here I have a cup of 2 kinds of sharp cheddar. So I've got an extra sharp, extra sharp, I think, Wisconsin cheddar, the yellow cheddar on the bottom. And then I have an extra sharp 2-year aged Irish cheddar on top. So these are both going to have a lot more bite to them and that nutty, cheesy flavor. And you can use any kind of cheese you like. I've just found over my years of cheese experimentation that sharp cheddar is my favorite for this. But I've used Pecorino, I've used the Monterey Jack, I've used Gouda. I just always go back to the sharp cheddar. Most excellent. Let's take a bite and see how this is turning out. See if we need to add anything. Nope. So that is perfect. Nice, salty, creamy. Little bit of bite from jalapeno, but not much at all. And then just that little bit of acidity from the jalapeno pickle juice. All right. So we're going to go ahead and set this all aside and move on to the star of our show, our scallops. So here they are, the main star of our show, these beautiful U7 diver sea scallops. So if you don't know, scallops are divided in class by weight. So U10 means 10 scallops per pound, U7 means 7 scallops per pound. So these guys are extra huge, which I'm very excited about. And I know a lot of people are nervous or intimidated by scallops because they can be very expensive and people think, I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to show you that you do not have to be intimidated by scallops and just how easy they really are to cook, and they're going to be incredible. I've already rinsed these off gently under some water, and now I'm just going to make sure to pat them dry because like with any protein that you're putting into a hot pan, you want to make sure it's nice and dry so you get a really good Maillard effect going on. And then I'm going to salt them. I've preheated this pan. We're going to add a nice chunk of butter to it. All right, now we're just going to gently place these scallops down. Add just a little bit more salt to this side as well. All right, so now that these big U7 scallops have had about 5 minutes on this side, for U10 you're going to do 3, U7 is going to be 5. We're going to flip them over. Look at that. Gorgeous. See how easy? 5 minutes on this side and they'll be done and we'll finish the sauce. And here they are, our beautifully pan-seared scallops. Look at that, both sides. And how easy was that? Literally, that was it. Just butter, salt, scallops, 5 minutes on each side. Super happy with that. All right. Of course, we're not quite done, but that's how simple were scallops, right? So easy. So easy. If you want to impress someone on a date, scallops, telling you. All right, so now we're gonna make a little sauce that's gonna flavor our scallops, but we wanted to get the cooking of them out of the way because the seasoning is gonna happen quick. So I put another tablespoon of butter into my hot pan. Collect up some of that, the good stuff that's left behind. Now I'm gonna add 4 cloves of garlic. Add another tablespoon of butter because this is going to be like a sauce. A very decadent, buttery sauce. And then next up, juice from the whole lemon. Stir that up a bit. Would my cameraman producer be so kind as to perhaps get me a spoon? Thank you much.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, a little bit of salt in here because that was unsalted butter. And then over our scallops it goes. There you have it. Garlic, lemon, butter scallops. Couldn't be easier. But obviously we're not done because we got to go get our grits. And here we are, all of our separate ingredients. Look at that bacon. Perfect. I know for most people you're going to say that it's burnt, but it's not because we want these to basically be like bacon crackers. We want that crispy texture. All right. Our finished cheese grits look amazing. A little thick, but that's all the cheese. And we like cheese. So excited. And so easy, right? And you can put scallops on top of anything, you don't want all the cheesy grits. Do those same scallops, put them over a bed of pasta. You're good to go. Take a bite of this. This is just such an awesome down-home dish. I love it. Give it a go. Don't be intimidated by scallops. No reason to be. Couldn't be easier. Impress your mate, impress your friends. They're going to love it. You're going to love it. And now you don't have to be intimidated by scallops anymore. And you've learned one of my family's most top secret recipes for jalapeno cheese grits. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of All Access Eats. Please subscribe to my channel, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time for more stories and recipes from the road.